When I had my first breakup, I remember it was snowing outside. The snowflakes were slowly falling down, and I remembered I was layered because it was cold outside. And I distinctively remember taking out a notepad and a pen, and I wrote down what went well, but also what went wrong in that relationship. And while I was writing this list down, it started to hit me that a lot of people do the same things that I did, the same things I did wrong in the relationship. People don't have any self-control or any control in their life. They just like to live passively. And I didn't want to do these things anymore that were hurting my relationship and my life. So here are the 6 things you need to quit before it destroys your life. The first thing is self-doubt. I barely believed in myself. I always thought my deficiencies were wired in me and that they were something that I couldn't change at all. I was sick with labels that other people put on me. Like, oh, he's antisocial. He's bad at talking to girls. He always gets rejected. And I would absorb those labels. And I would be that label. And I would start to tell myself, I was bad at speaking. I can't improve my speaking skills. I'm antisocial and I'm really bad at talking to women. And with my lack of confidence, I would always search for external validation, which made me look like a loser in that relationship. As I progressively got older, at least when I started college, I started to realize that self-belief is everything. You think you're dumb or you don't like that subject, that means you'll start to do things that don't help you with that subject. You'll start to not do any more studying. You'll stop doing review. You'll stop going to class. You'll stop going to class because you think that you're not good for it. You think you're cringe? That means you won't be making any more friends because you think you're awkward. You think that girl will reject you? Well, you won't even take the shot. You won't even ask her out. You need to have confidence in yourself, or else you'll be living someone else's life, someone else's dreams. And all you'll be doing is sticking to the labels that other people put on you. I started to notice that I lacked confidence in my sport just because I wasn't getting faster or stronger, and I assumed it was just my genetics. And that doubt was holding me back, which made me try less. And even in some classes where the topics were hard, I wouldn't even try to review for them because I just assumed it was a hard class. But the more I trained, the better I got. And I felt more confidence in myself by doing the actual work. The more I reviewed for that class, the more competent and confident I felt after that review session, especially for those big exams where I usually don't even know what's on that test. This means your doubt is from the lack of experiences. So what do you need to do? You need to do more reps. You need to do more volume. You need to do more review, more workouts to gain more of that confidence. The reason why I sucked at conversing, or at least talking to other people, is because I was antisocial when I was younger. I never tried to talk to other people, even my classmates in kindergarten, first grade, second grade. I barely talked, which was why my speaking skills needed more work. I didn't have enough experience of me talking, which means right now I need to speak a lot more and develop that skill. To overcome your self-doubt, you need to use your ego to start the reps, and then use your consistency and your discipline to keep doing the reps. It's like your first time of riding a bike. Your first time, it sucked because you didn't know what to do. You never had the experience. The more times you rode it and you learned from your mistakes and your falls, the better you got. So, if you ever have some self-doubt about something, take action on improving that condition. Get as much experience as you can. The second thing is a bad diet. Unfortunately, most of our diets is crap. You're eating all these sugary foods, junk foods, fried foods. How do you expect to perform at your best when you're eating all this junk food, when you're fueling yourself with bad quality fuel? Your diet is probably why you feel like crap mentally and physically. All these carbs that you eat in the morning are making you crash in the afternoon, and that's probably why you have brain fog as well. I know whenever I eat junk food for a day or a couple days in a row, I feel low energy. It was very hard for me to think during the school day, and in the afternoon, I would feel tired. And guess what? When I feel tired, I just wanted to eat chips or cereal, assuming that I'll feel more energy after eating it. I'll pour myself a bowl of cereal, sit down, and catch up on a show. And I would repeat this every single day. Although I did a lot of sports, I would still be chubby because I was eating more calories than I burned. Look, if you can't control what you put in your mouth, how can you expect to take care of yourself and your family? If you want clarity, high energy, and a fit body, take your nutrition seriously, or else you'll face the consequences later on. The next thing is having a bad physique. And this is tied with your diet because your abs are made in the kitchen. Look around you for a minute. Look at your parents, your coworkers, or even your friends. Most of them are obese, have health problems, or they even lack self-confidence. If you want to feel good, develop discipline, and have people trust you more, develop a good physique. Now, you don't have to be crazily jacked, but you do have to look presentable. When I was younger, I knew I was a bit chubbier, which hindered my confidence. But I knew when I was fitter and I had abs and I was leaner, I did feel a boost of confidence. Of course, you shouldn't tie your confidence to how your body looks, but usually having a fit body makes you feel good. It makes you feel more confident because you don't feel sluggish, you feel more energetic, and you feel stronger. But I saw it in my relationship where I would become lazier and lazier because I wasn't taking care of my health. So, what can you do to get a better physique? Be mindful about what you eat, like I said in the previous point, but also find an activity that you enjoy. It could be a sport that you like, lifting, or both. Do them 2 to 5 times a week, whatever fits your schedule. You'll start to notice changes physically and mentally where you're able to attract that girl that you want to ask out. The next point is poor sleep. If you want more mental clarity, you have to sleep more. Many people are sleep deprived. Why? Well, they sleep 6 hours or less every night. They drown themselves with shows or social media where they fall asleep with their phone in their hands. And doing all these activities hurt your sleep quality. For the days when I don't get enough sleep or I have multiple days of less sleep, I know my productivity diminishes. I can't think correctly or I can't even generate a single idea. I'm also less in control of my reaction, so when something doesn't go right or I'm frustrated, I'm more explosive about it where I just start to react and it doesn't end well from there. So my inability to control my actions when I'm sleep deprived hurt my relationships. So to get great quality sleep, sleep more than 7 hours a night. Set a bedtime alarm 1 hour before you fall asleep so it reminds you that you need to wind down, put your phone in another room, take magnesium to help you sleep, and get ready for bed. And if you're like me who sometimes have trouble sleeping, read a book in bed. It helps you sit still for 15 minutes, which makes you more sleepier. Another way for you to sleep faster is to have a productive day where you work out. You have multiple deep work sessions, you work. You use all that energy that you gained from the previous night to expend it to when you get back home, you're just feeling tired or you just want to go to sleep. Even today for me, I just graduated, I don't have any classes anymore, and I feel all this pent up energy because I'm not spending it on academics. I'm not spending it on my track training anymore because I'm on break. And whenever it's nighttime, it's hard for me to fall asleep because I have so much energy left that I didn't expend. So make your time during the day worth it. Sleep 7 to 9 hours a night and keep your phone out of the room. The next thing is your screen time. Check your screen time, bro. Probably more than 4 hours a day. Maybe it's on productivity apps, but check in the details and see how much time do you actually spend on social media. Probably a lot. Looking back, my worst times were when I was encapsulated by social media. In the morning, I would scroll for hours, and at night, I would scroll myself to sleep. And sometimes I would switch up to binge watch a show that I always wanted to watch. But in the morning, I would feel like crap because I didn't get enough sleep and my brain just feels foggy. I talked about food diet, but an underestimated diet is what content you consume. The content that you watch on the news, social media, podcasts, rewires your brain and your beliefs. Look at your parents. Most of their political beliefs come from what news they're watching. Social media and the news are mostly biased content. They like to nitpick details and conform it to their own opinions and their objectives. Plus, these sources need people to watch them. So the more outlandish content they have, the more viewers that they have. I remember when I was looking at red pill content on social media and YouTube or any relationship advice, it kind of tarnished my relationship that I had in the past, which is probably why it ended. I thought I had to do this and that, to be more aggressive, but that's not really how it works. Even during middle school and high school, there was so much lustful content on Snapchat and Instagram, which rewired my brain to think women only offered physical value. Remember, you are what you consume. The last thing that's going to hurt your life is chasing women. We inherently think about them. When I was single, I would always think that I needed to get her number, but I remind myself that I wasn't ready for a relationship. And I knew I would get easily distracted because I was a simp back then. Look, I understand you feel lonely and that you want to spend time with someone that you love, but you can't surround your life around women. If she rejects you, move on. Hell, don't even search. When I found out that I did my own thing, I would come across an attractive girl, I would initiate that conversation, and things would work out. So if you see an attractive girl, shoot your shot. But like I said, you shouldn't spend your time searching for them. They should just come across in your life. You shouldn't be on Hinge or Tinder swiping left or right. Find someone naturally, like in your class, on the streets, or at a restaurant. And I know many men out there prioritize women because they don't want to be lonely or seem like they are unattractive. Look, she'll come into your life. In order for her to be attracted and stay, you have to be working on yourself. In sophomore year, I was heavily invested in myself until I met my current girlfriend today. And in that time, I wasn't even searching for a relationship. I was just curious about her. So, work on yourself, man. Do it for your success, not to attract that girl. Spend the time that you spend on dating apps and social media on yourself. Shoot your shot and move on. Thank you for watching, bro. And if you haven't already, check out last week's video right here.